It usually happens on a Tuesday, or maybe a Thursday, just a regular, boring weekday. You come home from work tired, expecting dinner, expecting the TV to be on, expecting normal. But instead, you walk into silence. It's not just quiet, it's empty. You call out her name, but there's no answer. A sense of unease starts to creep in. You walk through the house, room by room. The kitchen is clean, too clean. You head to the bedroom, and that's when you see it. The empty side of the closet. The missing toothbrush from the bathroom counter, and then a letter on the perfectly made bed. Your heart sinks. You stand there, completely shocked, thinking, but we didn't even fight this week. We just went to the movies on Saturday. I thought we were fine, and that is exactly why she left, because you thought you were fine. This scenario is tragically common. It's the silent departure, the breakup, that seems to come out of nowhere. But the truth is, it never comes out of nowhere. The signs were there, but they weren't loud, dramatic fights. They were subtle. They were quiet. They were the slow erosion of connection that happens when one person feels taken for granted. Fine is the most dangerous word in a relationship. Fine means complacency. It means the absence of conflict, yes, but it also means the absence of passion, the absence of deep connection, the absence of growth. You stopped asking how her day really was. You stopped planning dates that weren't just about convenience. The small gestures, the inside jokes, the shared dreams, they faded into the background of routine. For her, the relationship didn't end on that Tuesday. It ended months, maybe even years ago. It ended with every conversation she tried to start that was met with a distracted nod. It ended with every time she felt invisible while you were sitting right next to her. Every time she reached for your hand and felt a passive, lifeless grip in return. She mourned the relationship while she was still in it. The letter on the bed wasn't the beginning of the end, it was the epilogue. It was the final, quiet confirmation of a story that had already concluded in her heart. She didn't leave because of a huge fight. She left because of 1,000 tiny moments of neglect. She left because fine wasn't good enough. She wanted to feel alive, seen, and cherished, not just accommodated. So what's the lesson here? It's that relationships don't run on autopilot. They require active participation. They demand attention, effort, and intention every single day. Don't let your relationship slip into the comfort of being fine. Ask the hard questions. Have the uncomfortable conversations. Notice the little things. Is your partner quieter than usual? Do they seem distant? Don't dismiss it. Lean in. Ask what's on their mind. Show them you're still curious about them, that you still want to know the person they are becoming. The person who left that letter didn't want to leave. She wanted to be given a reason to stay. But silence and complacency gave her 1,000 reasons to go. You might be thinking, this is just a story, but for many, it's a reality. If any of this feels familiar, it's not too late. Don't wait for the empty side of the closet. Don't wait for the letter. Start today. Put down your phone at dinner. Plan a surprise date, not because it's a special occasion, but just because it's a Tuesday. Ask a question you haven't asked in years. Tell them something you appreciate about them, something specific. It's these small, consistent efforts that build a love that lasts, a love that's far better than just fine. It's a love that feels like coming home, not to an empty house, but to a person who is thrilled to see you. Build that kind of love. It's worth every bit of effort. Welcome to the modern marriage crisis. This isn't just one man's story. It's a statistical reality. According to recent data in the United States, nearly 80% of all divorces are initiated by women. Among college-educated couples, that number jumps to an astonishing 90%. Just let that sink in for a moment. If a marriage ends today, there's a 9 out of 10 chance she is the one ending it. So, why is this happening? Have men suddenly become worse husbands? Or has the very definition of marriage changed right under our feet without us even noticing? Today, we're going to explore a phenomenon psychologists call the Walkaway Wife Syndrome. We need to talk about the dark psychology of silence, the weight of unmet expectations, and the brutal truth about why so many good men are being left behind in record numbers. If you think your relationship is safe just because she hasn't complained in a while, you need to listen very, very closely. Because, in a modern marriage, silence is rarely peace. Silence is usually the sound of the end. Let me ask you a difficult question. When was the last time she nagged you? When was the last time she complained that you don't spend enough time with her, or that you didn't do the dishes, or that you never listen. If you're smiling right now because you haven't heard a complaint in 6 months, you shouldn't be smiling. You should be panicked. This is the core of the Walkaway Wife Syndrome. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow burn. At first, she brings up her needs. She says things like, "I feel like we never talk anymore," or "I wish you'd help out more around the house." She's trying to connect, trying to solve the problem with you. But what often happens, we men, we're problem solvers. We hear a complaint, and we either dismiss it because we're tired, or we offer a quick, logical fix without really hearing the emotion behind her words. We see it as nagging, not as a bid for connection. We think she'll get over it. But she doesn't get over it. She just stops talking about it. This is the most dangerous stage. The silence, you might think. Great. She finally stopped complaining. Everything is fine, but everything is not fine. The silence isn't acceptance, it's resignation. She's tried to reach you, but she feels like she's hit a wall one too many times. So she turns inward. She starts planning her exit, emotionally and then literally. She starts detaching. She stops asking for your help because she's already figured out how to do it all herself. She stops asking for your time because she started filling it with other things, other people, and a vision of a future that doesn't include you. During this silent phase, she's grieving the marriage while she's still in it. She's processing the end, making peace with the decision, and getting her ducks in a row. She might be talking to friends, seeing a therapist on her own, or even quietly consulting a lawyer. To you, it looks like a normal Tuesday. To her, it's the beginning of her new life. You're living in the present, thinking everything is okay, while she is already living in the future. And then, one day, she drops the bomb. She sits you down and says, "I'm not happy. I want a divorce." And you are completely blindsided. You're in shock. You say, "But I thought everything was fine. You haven't complained in months. Why didn't you say anything?" The tragic irony is, she did. She said things for years. You just weren't listening in the way she needed you to. Her silence wasn't a sign of contentment. It was the sound of her giving up on you. By the time she tells you she's leaving, it's not a negotiation, it's an announcement. Her decision was made long ago, in the quiet moments you mistook for peace. So what can you do? The first step is to break the code of silence. If your relationship has gone quiet, don't celebrate it. Investigate it. Start the conversation yourself. Don't wait for her to complain. Ask her, "Hey, how are we really doing? How are you feeling about us?" And when she talks, really listen. Don't try to fix it. Don't defend yourself. Just listen to her heart. Ever wondered why so many divorces seem to come out of nowhere for the husband? Let's break down a huge reason why this happens. You see, the male brain and the female brain often process conflict in completely different ways. We, as men, tend to see complaints as problems to be avoided. We see arguments as battles, as war. So when the house finally goes quiet, we let out a sigh of relief. We think, "Great, everything is good. I finally won." We have peace. But for a woman, her complaints are often attempts at connection. They're like frantic signals saying, "Hey, I'm unhappy over here. Please help me fix this." A great way to think about her nagging is like a smoke alarm. Yes, the noise is super annoying. Yes, it hurts your ears, and you just want it to stop. But as long as that alarm is ringing, it means she still cares enough to try and save the house. She is actively fighting for the relationship. But then, the alarm stops. One day, you notice she's stopped asking you to go on dates. She doesn't get mad anymore when you come home late. She's not checking your phone, and you think, "Finally, she's accepted me for who I am." But you couldn't be more wrong. She didn't accept it. She accepted that it will never, ever change. This is the moment psychologists call emotional checkout. It is estimated that women usually mentally check out of a marriage a full 2 years before they actually file for divorce. 2 years! Think about that. During this time, she is quietly grieving the death of the marriage while you're still sleeping soundly in it, thinking everything is fine. She's the one crying in the shower where you can't hear her. She's the one talking to her friends, getting advice. She's making a plan. She's saving money. And she's building a brand new emotional life that, unfortunately, no longer includes you. So when she finally hands you those divorce papers, it feels like a lightning bolt from a clear blue sky. You're in total shock. You say, "Wait, what? We can fix this. Let's go to therapy. Let's do whatever it takes." But for her, she already went to therapy in her head. She already tried to fix it 100 different times. but you were too comfortable to notice the smoke until the entire house was already burned to the ground. This creates a massive, dangerous gap in perception. Men often define a good husband by what they do. We have a provider mindset. We think, I go to work, I pay the bills, I don't hit her, I don't cheat. We genuinely believe that's enough to make a marriage work. But here's the shift. Modern women define a good husband by how they feel. They're asking themselves, do I feel seen? Do I feel heard? Do I feel emotionally connected to this person? In today's world, a woman doesn't need a man for basic survival anymore. She has a career, she has her own bank account, so if you're only bringing money and safety to the relationship, you're bringing things she can already get for herself. If you are not bringing that deep emotional connection, you risk becoming redundant. And that is a truly terrifying place for any of us to be. If this resonates with you, or if you've seen this happen, share your thoughts in the comments below. There's another invisible force at work here, something you probably never even considered. It's not just about what's happening inside your house, it's about what's happening outside of it. We need to talk about social contagion. You've probably heard the saying that you re the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Well, guess what? That applies to marriages too. Sociologists have found that divorce is actually contagious. If a woman's close friend gets divorced, her own likelihood of ending her marriage skyrockets by nearly 75%. Why? Because misery loves company, but so does this idea of false freedom. Think about her circle of friends. Are they happily married? Or are they single, divorced, or constantly complaining about their own partners? When she goes out for girls' night or talks to them on the phone, what's the narrative? Let's say she complains about you leaving a wet towel on the floor. A happily married friend might say something like, yeah, men can be messy, but he loves you. But a toxic single or divorced friend? She'll say, girl, you don't need that. You're a queen. You deserve better. Why are you settling? This is the echo chamber. Modern society has created a feedback loop where women are rarely encouraged to fix a marriage. They are almost exclusively encouraged to leave it. She gets validation for being unhappy. Her friends, often projecting their own failures or loneliness, sell her a fantasy. They tell her the grass is greener on the other side. They post photos of their single girl summer on Instagram, looking happy, free, and traveling. Your wife looks at that, then looks at you sitting on the couch, and she feels like she's missing out. She doesn't see the lonely nights her divorced friends spend. She only sees the highlight reel. She starts to view her marriage not as a partnership, but as a cage, keeping her from her best life. And this ties into the biggest lie of modern relationships, the happiness mandate. Somewhere along the way, we stopped viewing marriage as a duty or a commitment and started viewing it solely as a vehicle for personal happiness. You'll hear this phrase all the time, I love him, but I'm not in love with him anymore. What she usually means is, I don't feel the butterflies anymore. I don't feel that dopamine rush. She confuses boredom with dysfunction. In the past, people understood that marriage has seasons. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's just neutral. But in the age of social media, where she's constantly bombarded with videos of perfect couples and soulmates, she feels that if she isn't 100% happy every single day, then the marriage must be broken. She chases the feeling of being in love rather than the reality of loving someone. And because you, as a regular human being, cannot provide a Hollywood movie ending every single Tuesday, she decides that the relationship has run its course. She isn't leaving you because you are a bad man. She is leaving because she has been sold a fairy tale that no real man can live up to. It's a tough reality to face, but understanding these external pressures is the first step. It's not just about you and her, it's about the world she lives in. So, the papers are signed. She walks away, fueled by her friend's encouragement and the promise of this amazing, new, exciting life. She truly believes she's heading toward a future of freedom, travel, and endless options. And you know what? Initially, she probably feels a huge rush of relief. But let's look at the cold, hard data, because the fantasy rarely matches the reality. Studies actually suggest that 5 years after a divorce, many women report being less happy than they were during the marriage. Meanwhile, men, once they get past that initial shock and pain, often report higher levels of satisfaction. So why does this flip happen? Well, she enters the modern dating market thinking she still holds the same cards she held when she was 25. She expects to find a man who's taller, richer, and more exciting than you, but who also wants to commit to a divorced woman, possibly with kids. She quickly realizes that the high-value men she's looking for are often seeking younger women, or women without what they see as baggage. She essentially traded a man who is 80% good for the hope of a 100% fantasy, and often ends up with nothing but a series of temporary flings. This is the tragic irony of the Walkaway Wife Syndrome. She burned down the entire house just to get some fresh air, only to realize way too late that it's freezing cold outside. And for you, the man left standing in the empty room, looking at her side of the closet. This is your defining moment. Society expects you to crumble. It expects you to beg, to plead, to promise you'll change, to go to counseling all by yourself just to prove you're trying. Do not do that. Understanding the psychology of why she left isn't about winning her back. It's about freeing yourself from the guilt. You can't fill a cup that has a hole in the bottom if she has already checked out emotionally. If she has rewritten the entire history of your marriage to make you the villain, no amount of trying is going to fix it. The most powerful thing you can do, the only thing that preserves your dignity, is to let the door close. Do not chase someone who has already decided you're not enough. Instead, redirect all of that energy. Rebuild your body, your finances, and your mind. The harsh truth is, you can't negotiate genuine desire. If she has to be convinced to stay with you, she's already left. So, let her walk, because often, the only way she will ever realize the value of what she lost is when she finally looks back and sees that you were no longer there waiting. You're already gone, building a better life without her.